Speak English? All speak English? Yes. Because I don't speak French.
Okay.
No?
We'll do this in, yeah.
But you sing in French?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
So you can sing and not talk.
You have to wait till the opening night.
So how did you manage to learn to sing in French?
We had, I had phonetic sessions, which started when I was in Hamburg, doing London Eyes, through Skype. And Sierra had hers when she was doing School of Rock in New York. And we both had the lovely lady Odile to help us get our mouths around the right and the correct pronunciation of the piece, and that went on for many weeks before we arrived. And then after we arrived, every day, you know, when we rehearse, we have notes on the way we're doing it. You know, what's improving, what's slipped, you know, what we need to fix again. And, because the thing is, you know, you can pronounce it correctly in my case, but then when you get on stage and the drama starts, you forget. You know, you forget that the R should be slightly more nasal. So, but these things come with the rehearsals, and you know, a performer has to, and we are usually accustomed to perform in different languages, and that's what we do. We don't speak all those languages. I don't speak Russian. I've done Russian opera. Okay. So you know, you do. Yeah, you just learn. You hear how it should sound, and we train our ears as to what the sound of the language focuses on, and what the emphasis is, and we get help with that. So hopefully, the end result will be clear, and you'll be able to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, but do you understand what you're saying?
Oh yes, I will. It would be silly it would be absurd to be on stage and not know what you're saying. So I obviously know.
No, they were joking,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah. But no, I think it happens more when you're a student. I think because you know, when you're in school and you sing an aria or a lieder or anything, or you know, sometimes you go through stages, and I know that because I have taught also. You ask, do you know what you're singing about? And yeah, roughly, but that's not enough. You have to know everything, every word, every phrase, every sentence, because behind that is a gesture and an eye contact and thought, and if that's not there, the character becomes not as gripping.
It's not strange to have played the Phantom in Love Never Dies before the Phantom of the Opera?
No, not to me. I suppose it is the wrong way around, because in Love Never Dies, it's 10 years later, and he's matured, he's grown up more, and you know, he's wiser, and the character, the person he is in Phantom of the Opera, has become more contained and more controlled. He's more in control of his feelings. He still has these outbursts, but they're not as violent, they're not as often, and they're not as you know, he doesn't, you definitely still see them in Love Never Dies. This is the same character, but he's just like we do when we grow up. We become wiser, we become calmer, we know things more, and we know how to deal with things. You know, when something happens, you know, it'll be fine. Whereas when we're younger, we don't react the same way. So I'm just taking a few steps back in that character process, and now getting the chance, or to be allowed to make him, you know, this wide, this in all his highs and lows of feelings and emotions, and as I said, his outbursts and pain, you know. It's a good character to play.
And you played Raoul.
I played Raoul in London.
And what is the biggest dream for you? Play the Phantom or play in Paris? Or play the Phantom in Paris?
Play the Phantom in Paris is a good one. It's lovely to be part of this production now here in Paris, because it's the 30th year, it's this anniversary of this masterpiece, which Phantom de L'Opera is. The reason for that is because it's good. It's the music, the score is brilliant, the story, the drama and the love story is so gripping, and the characters and the costumes and the sets, everything is, as we know. I'm sure you've all seen it. I hope you have at some point. It's just a good piece, and that's the reason why it lasts, like any piece of art. And so to be part of it now here in Paris, where the story originates, really, you know, it's based on the book, and down the street from the opera where the story is supposed to happen. That's it's a huge honour, and nice to be part of that. And in a way, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's never been here in France, let alone Paris, and in French. So I think it's home now. It's finally home. So I think it's good, and to have that now when it's on its 30th, during its 30th year, is quite nice.
What's the hardest thing for you, for your character in the play?
The hardest thing is to try and, for me, is to try and show all these layers that I was talking about, all these many sides of the Phantom. He's definitely not a simple person. He's a genius, a composer, an architect, a teacher, and the list goes on. He's a great man, but he's also this monster who has had a horrible childhood. The first piece of clothing was a mask, which his mother put on him, because she couldn't even watch him. She couldn't even stand the sight of him. Now, if we put ourselves in those shoes and think what kind of person we would have become, I think it's quite difficult to go there. So I think, for me, that's the challenge, to try and make this character and my interpretation of the role as good as I can, with all these things in mind, because the character can be played, like this, or it can be played like this, and that's what's, I think, interesting and enjoyable to watch and experience. To see him in wallow in pain and in pity, being in love. He's a murderer also. I mean, he's a crazy person, and but he's a simple person also. He just loves her, but he can't relate to. So that's the difficult thing to try and get across, and the nice thing, and the exciting thing to do also. Because that's why I and we as performers do what we do, because we get a chance to become somebody else and try and show that person in the best light as we can, and so that's the most difficult thing and the nicest thing, I think, are these layers. And but it's so easy to do all these things when you have the music and you have the story and you have these other characters which are all interesting in the piece. They all have their strong sides and their faults and their quirkiness, and it's so easy to have those characters around to help along that route.
Did you meet Sarah before you played with her here in Paris?
We met originally at the Albert Hall in London on the 25th anniversary. I was Passerino, so I did Raoul Passerino in this piece. But then we got to know each other then when we started working more here in Paris.
Did you actually go visit the opera a few times, or would you rather work with your imagination?
No, that's on the list from the theatre here of things to do, and we will be taken there on a special tour to see the opera house, which we're all very excited to do and see, because that's where it all started, and that's and to think that that's where he lived, and that's where everything happened. So I think it's going to be very interesting and nice for the whole company and cast to see that, see the water and everything, the lair, which is his home.
What about makeup?
Makeup?
Of the character?
Yeah.
Have you tried things or?
Yeah.
How it is?
It's good. I mean, it's.
Takes time?
Sorry?
It takes time to get some.
It takes between 2 and 3 hours to put it on. Yeah. It takes a while to put it on. He's a beast. He's a monster, but with a heart. I've tried it on once. I have a few. There'll be a few sessions, I think, with the makeup department to try it on to sort of get used to it for the artists here to put it on and do it in the right way, because they'll have people from because obviously this production is produced in obviously it's West End and Broadway and then all over the world, so and it's always the same, so the makeup always has to be the same. So there'll be a few sessions, as I said, where they put on the makeup and they get a chance to do it right and say this is wrong, and people say no, it should be more like this. Oh, okay, so they just.
It has to be exactly the same.
It's always the same.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, it's always the same. Yeah, this show has not changed in 30 years, and that's there's no need when it's as good as it is. You don't change something that's good.
How a little boy in Iceland
Yeah.
dream about musicals, about the Phantom, and become the Phantom after the story.
The story.
The little Gardar.
Yeah, the little Gardar.
Even when I was young, that I wanted to be in arts. I always knew I wanted to perform. Originally, I wanted to be a pop singer when I was a boy. I wanted to be like Elvis Presley. And I listened to Bon Jovi and Prince, and they're still my favourite.
And Björk?
They're still, sorry?
Björk?
Björk is good. She's good. She's brilliant. She comes home always. Everyone that's Icelandic always comes back home. There's always, we travel a lot and we work a lot abroad. We always come home and we have a base there, which is nice. It's a small place. But when I was young, I knew I wanted to be in perform. My father's an opera singer and my mother's a pianist, so there was always a lot of music and around at home. But then when I was 13, I was bitten by the acting bug. I played one of two young brothers in a international TV series called Money and Money about their adventures. And I was 13, and the boy that played my brother, younger, he was 10 and turned 11. And we're best friends today, so this is how, so we've grown up together. But that's when he's an actor now, we were both bitten by the acting bug. So from an early age, I always knew that I wanted to, perform. And my father was the role model, and he was a singer, but it wasn't until I was 18 that I knew that I wanted to study classical singing, and that's when I went into classical training. And then I was, for a long time, torn, should I just do acting or just do music? And I knew if I just did acting, the music would, not be there, and I couldn't live without that. Whereas with music, you can have the acting there also. You're on stage and you're performing, so that's why I chose that. It was too much of a thing to let go of just doing acting. So, yeah, that's as a kid, that's and a young man. That's sort of where I started and went on, and then here I am now, a few years later.
And listen to the music of the night.